This is the Swarm and Shoot football show with me, Manny Matsakis, as we kick off season 2. We've been fortunate because we've had a few good interviews. We bring Lynn Grohl on here, and he's able to interview some of our players. And we've got a lot coming up in this upcoming season. And this Swarm and Shoot football show is brought to you by Big B Coffee, which I've got right here. And it's right across campus here on North Clinton Street. Get the finest coffee beverages in Defiance, as well as great pastries and breakfast sandwiches to start off your day. And for most of us, we also get a pick-me-up in the afternoon by heading across the street to see Sue and everybody over at Big B Coffee. I'd also like to thank our sponsor, BSN Sports. Rob Held, Jim Garris, and the crew over here, the sales team, are the professionals that you definitely need to get in touch with to get your gear. All the DC gear. If you're a high school program out there listening to this, get in touch with these guys and they will help you out. They do a fantastic job with high schools, colleges, businesses in the area. Can get whatever type of apparel they need customized just for their business. So I know Rob does a great job for us. Jim is our rep that I see virtually every week of the year, and it's outstanding customer service. This is episode number 61. Up to this point, we have given you the opportunity to hear from our seniors, some of our players, as Lynn Grohl, the publisher of Black Swamp Football Magazine, has been doing a lot of these interviews. Now, as we move forward, right now, today, what I want to do is give you some insight where we currently are in our program. And it's a pivotal time. It is one of those deals where we're getting ready for our first contact practice today. And here's what that basically means. Helmets and shoulder pads go on in the fall, which without an actual season is, it's rather interesting for Division III, because you got to understand, most of the time, all the way up to now, Division III in the spring, which is the off season, and that's what the fall is right now, because this is the off season. What happens is that we sit there, and in the spring, we are basically in shorts and t-shirts is what we're in. And we're out there just installing and putting some plays in and all that. But there's zero contact, and it has been that way for a long time. And years ago, Division III didn't even have any spring ball or any off-season ball at all. So when that moved forward, that was a definite plus. However, looking at what the opportunity that this gives us due to the pandemic, we have, as a Division III body, have given football the opportunity to have a more legitimized spring ball approach in the fall. So we can put helmets and shoulder pads on, and that's fantastic. So I'm excited about that, because we get to do the same thing Ohio State does, the same thing Bowling Green does in their off season. So helmets and shoulder pads go on today. We have been COVID testing every week, and we will continue to do that all fall until we wrap everything up on November 21st, which I'll get to here in a minute. The results have been good lately. I think our players are doing, and coaches are doing, an exemplary job of being masked up, making sure that we are socially distanced in our practices. And what happened is, at this point, the last 2 weeks have been what we call acclimatization, where the first week, 2 weeks ago, for a solid week, we moved forward because we started out testing the whole team, coaches, everybody, and that's how everything started. And when we did it, we had groups separate. In other words, the receivers, we had two groups of QBs, receivers, and running backs. And then we had one group of the offensive linemen and so forth. And everybody, we split the practice literally in half. So the first group of QBs, receivers, and backs, for instance, went at the beginning of practice. Then they left, and then we brought in another group, and then we had another practice. So it was like 2 practices in one, but everybody on the team would get a single practice as we built that up. When we finished that, we got into week 2 of acclimatization. And at that point, then we still split the practice in half, but now it was offense got to get together and defense got to get together after the offense was done, and we'd run them through drills and so forth. In both of those first 2 weeks, we had absolutely zero contact. Guys could not touch anybody while they were out there, but we could get enough work that I felt was good quality, where we could schematically put some things in and walk through and run through at a full speed pace. You could obviously throw the ball to guys. We weren't handing the ball off, to give you an idea. So that's how that worked on the offensive side, and the defense was playing off but teaching formation adjustments and so forth. So that's how the first 2 weeks went, and that gets us to today. So now the plan moving forward, barring anything unforeseen with the COVID testing, is going to be that we will test. We usually test every Wednesday morning, and we do a high quality test, and we randomly test different guys on the team. So each week somebody is getting tested. Let's say, over 25% of the team is getting tested, and it's a different group each time. So when that gets going for that following week, as we move forward, what happens is each week on Wednesday afternoons, we'll have a controlled scrimmage. Now, understand, Wednesdays, there are no classes. So in the afternoon, we can get out there a little earlier. So we like to get that practice started about 3 o'clock. All right. Controlled scrimmages are also held Saturday mornings. All right. Saturdays are going to be big for us because we'll go Saturday morning at 9 o'clock and get everything going, where we'll actually have full contact scrimmages happening. And what happens from this point forward is that we are going to have recruits on campus every weekend leading up to November 21st, all right, which is the Saturday prior to Thanksgiving. All right, November 21st is our fall game. All right, on that fall game, it's an intra-squad scrimmage, full game-like conditions where we'll test out offense, defense, kicking game, and so forth, tackling just like you'd see in a game. We want to see what our guys have got and give them an opportunity to be evaluated. And as we have that event on November 21st, prior to that, we will have a few more of these controlled scrimmages. So everybody that last week gets quality reps for the purpose of evaluation. So we can start to get an idea heading into the next season, when the season begins in 2021, who is on the depth chart, who's getting reps and so forth, varsity and so forth, as we build this thing up. So after we're done November 21st, and that game right now tentatively will probably push back. It won't be a 9 a.m. start. It may be pushed back a couple hours. Some of it will be depending on the weather. All right. We will wrap up these classes prior to Thanksgiving. The players will return home, all right, and they'll have their classes and finals done virtually. So we don't see them the week of Thanksgiving after they're done with their last class here. They go home. We want to make sure they're taking care of their weight program, doing all the proper things they need to be doing. I'll tell you, this Big B coffee today, I have let me see, I call it a shot in the dark. I put an espresso in here with a nice dark coffee of the day, and pretty good. Get you going. So after this, I'll be flying high, getting ready for practice. So I'm ready to go with that. Now, what I want to get you to understand is, as the players go home, they get a weight program. They're doing that while they're home. They're studying their playbooks. They're getting their insight so they can come back and be able to compete when we get going in January. Now, the coaches will start preparing for the upcoming season. So after Thanksgiving, we'll take a couple of days off during Thanksgiving, come back in December. Heavy work preparing, game planning for training camp and our first opponent coming up. And we'll make sure that we've got everything organized properly before we leave for a short Christmas break. And then we'll come back after the new year, and then we hit the ground running. We're getting everything ready at that point for the training camp the details, because when the players come back, we're going to have a couple weeks of conditioning and some workouts. And then February 1st, training camp begins. You heard that right. February 1st, we begin training camp. So we plan on being outside as much as possible and getting acclimatized to the weather in that case, because I don't know how it's going to look in February. Sometimes the weather is in the 50s and sometimes it's in the teens. So it could be anything like that, but we need to be ready. It is football. Other than lightning, we're playing. So that's how this baby's got to work. So we get outside, get ready to go with that. Now, once we roll through that February 1st training camp, all the way until it's time, that third week of February will be the first game week. We open up at Franklin College on February 27th. That's a Saturday, February 27th. Game time to be announced, and then we'll go from there. And then we are also on the road against Rose-Hulman. So we open up with 2 road games. The rest of it, the schedule will be coming out on our website. Should be on there now to give you an idea. The only thing we don't know right now is the exact time of everything. So I want to thank you for tuning in. We'll move forward next week with more interviews with players as we get going. And occasionally we'll pop in and my plan is to do an interview here and there with members of the community, people that have influenced our program and maybe have gone through the undergraduate program and are successful out there in the Defiance area and all over the country. So thanks again. I want to thank you for joining us on the Swarm and Shoot Football Show. If you're listening to this podcast, make sure to subscribe in iTunes. Give us a rating, comment on the show. If you'd like to get all kinds of updates, go to our website at swarmandshoot.com, where you will be up to date on all of our podcasts with audio and YouTube versions on there as well. All right. See feature articles on our current players and alumni, along with updates of what's going on in the program. Take a minute and subscribe with your email to receive these regular alerts every time we update the website.